Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. I'm Sri Jagaraja. Mr. President, can we turn to your relations in the global sphere with other countries, most notably with the US? You've been perceived by some observers as a very pro-US Indonesian leader at a time when the US is arguably marginalized, increasingly marginalized in the Muslim world. Do you feel that you may be going against the grain of popular opinion in the Muslim world?
Well, actually what I am doing in the past 2 years is to revitalize the philosophy of foreign policy, active and independent foreign policy. Of course, as a leader of this nation in the globalization era, I have to make friends with all countries, all nations in the world, with ASEAN nations, with Australia, with the US, with European countries, with the Middle East and Islamic countries. And that's what Indonesia is doing in the past 2 years. So actually, it's not true if I am seen to close to only one side of the international players. I try to maintain a good relations and good cooperation with all players in the world for the benefit of Indonesia and economic cooperation and other cooperation and maintaining world peace and stability and prosperity.
Is that a difficult balancing act, if you will, to perform, especially when opinion especially in the Middle East and opinion in the US is so divided on the war against terror, for example, on Iraq, on North Korea, and on issues relating now to the turmoil in the Lebanon and with Israel?
Yes, the situation sometimes is challenging, it's delicate and difficult to be understood properly by our people. But it does not mean that Indonesia should not play a proper roles in dealing with the international affairs in the Middle East, in Myanmar, in Korean Peninsula, and others. So we are continuing our effort to play roles in many world affairs. In essence, Indonesia will contribute positively, want to be part of the solutions. And of course, our principle is any conflict must be solved peacefully and avoiding open conflict, because it will give a negative impact to all over people in the world.
Let's turn to another international issue that is creating a lot of tension globally. Can Indonesia play a role in helping defuse the standoff between Iran over its nuclear program with the US and the EU?
Yes, it is also a delicate issue that the world is facing now. I met President Ahmadinejad several times. When he visited Indonesia a couple of months ago, I did say to him clearly, Indonesia's view is that we do hope that Iran can reduce the tensions, that Iran can cooperate better with IAEA, that Iran can continue its talk with EU3, and finding a proper solution, a win-win solution.
Mr. President, your neighbor Australia is a very important trading partner for your country, but relationships have been rocky in the past. How do you feel relationships with Australia are going to develop now?
In the past 2 years, actually our relationship is getting better, it's getting more solid and moving ahead. Both Prime Minister Howard and I are fully committed to further strengthening this relationship. There must be differences, there must be issues, but we have to cooperate. We have to solve properly and peacefully. So Australia is an important country for Indonesia, and I do hope Australia can also develop a genuine and constructive foreign policy toward Indonesia, and we will do our best in maintaining this atmosphere for having a closer and better relationship with Australia.
And one very final question, Mr. President, if I can turn back to the domestic political scene. As we know, you're about a third of the way through your 5-year term. But what about the future? Are you confident of securing a second term in office?
I will focus my job in my term, 2004-2009, because my mission is to do my best in improving the situation in the economy, security, human rights, and others. So my focus, and I'd better not think prematurely on 2009.
Mr. President, thank you very much indeed for joining us. This has been the CNBC Conversation in Jakarta. I'm Sri Jagaraja. We've been talking to Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. Thank you very much for watching.